The RTX 5070 is probably one of the most hated GPUs of 2025 for its lack of VRAM or price. But personally, I don't think that it's that bad. I actually think that it's pretty great for what it is. And by the end of this video, you will see why it's one of the best value GPUs of this generation. Let's get into it. So I bought this Founders Edition RTX 5070 straight from NVIDIA, and let me give some props to NVIDIA for this cool box design. I love to collect boxes of things, and this looks so good. So I paid $550, which, don't get me wrong, is a lot of money, but it's actually kind of fine. And let me explain. Everyone I see on YouTube always complaining how expensive GPUs have gotten, but 9 years ago when the GTX 1070 launched, its MSRP was $380, and accounted for inflation, in 2025 those $380 are now $520, so price is basically the same. And I didn't see anyone complain about prices back then. Well, maybe because I was too young to care or know the GPU prices, but my point is that in almost 10 years the 70 class GPUs are pretty much the same price. I'm not trying to justify NVIDIA for their pricing or whatnot, but price has always been like this. Now, I always really liked Founders Edition GPUs, and finally I own one. It looks really good all around. Just one sad part about it is that only the 5080 and the 5090 get these LED lights on them, which will look really good on my build. I actually almost bought a 5080 just because of this, but I'm glad that I didn't, because the performance of the 5070 is great for the games that I play. And also spending like $1,000 on a single computer part for a uni student like me would hurt a lot. And also another thing, this cooler is blow through only on one side, unlike the 5080 and the 5090. The left side just blows air out the back of the card where the ports are. But overall the cooling is good. It only is a 2-fan card, but so I thought that it would struggle to cool the card, but 75 degrees is the hottest that I've seen. I know that a lot of people are holding off on buying the RTX 5070 because there is this leak saying that the RTX 5070 Super will be released soon and it will have like 18GB of VRAM, but let me explain why I don't think that it makes sense to wait for the majority of people. Okay, so if the leak is correct, the 5070 will have 18GB of VRAM, and by this reason alone, I believe that it will be scalped like crazy and most people won't be able to get their hands on it because AI takes a lot of VRAM. And let's say that the 5070 Super will cost only like $550 or like $600. This is still dirt cheap for those like AI workloads, where currently the cheapest card that has more VRAM than 16GB is the RTX 3090, which costs about like $600 to like $700 used. So I think that most regular gamers won't be able to reliably buy the RTX 5070 Super for a long time after its release. Okay, now let's get into the performance of it. First, I will show you some games at 1440p, and then after, I will talk about who I recommend the 5070 for. Here you can see Dying Light the Beast running at 1440p max settings, no DLSS and no frame generation, and it's running at well above 60 FPS as you can see. And the VRAM usage is below 8GB, so the 12GB of VRAM are no problem here. And if I turn on DLSS quality, the FPS jumps to over 110 FPS, which is the way I would play. The extra frames with DLSS gives it that nice smoothness that I like while playing even these like single player games. And it's amazing to see an optimized game in the year 2025 where the developers don't expect you to be using the RTX 5090. And if I turn on frame generation to the 4x setting, the FPS is way above 240 at most times, and I don't know if it's just me, but I can barely tell the difference between frame gen on or off. Like, I don't feel the latency. Let me know in the comments if you can feel the frame gen latency. Next up we got Fortnite OG Battle Royale, running at way above 200 FPS here in Tilted Towers, and I'm using the DirectX 12 and everything set to epic, just shadows turned off and no ray tracing. I think this is how most players would play to get the max visibility, and at 1440p I think this card is great for Fortnite. Like, you get smooth frame rates, you get nice visuals, and it's just overall a good experience. Then another popular esports title is Counter-Strike 2. I couldn't get MSI Afterburner overlay working for this game for some reason, so I'm using the new Steam overlay, and as you can see it's getting easily above 200 FPS at max settings. I know that in a game like this you might want to turn down some settings to get a locked 240 FPS or more, but honestly it's fine. For me, I would much rather get good visuals in competitive games than like an extra like 10 to 20 FPS, but it's just me. And lastly we have Borderlands 4. At max settings DLSS quality, and it's running okay-ish. It's getting like 50 to like 60 FPS, which is fine for some people, but for me it's like honestly unacceptable. But it's the fault of the developers for not optimizing this game. I've seen it running terribly even like on better hardware. And if I turn on frame generation to the 4x setting, it's getting some solid FPS, like above 120, so if you want to play this game at max settings with the 5070, I would say that frame generation is definitely needed, at least for now. Who knows, maybe in the future they will optimize this game. So yeah, despite all the hate online, the 5070 really surprised me with frame generation and solid 1440p performance. It's a card that can handle basically anything you throw at it at 1440p. And I didn't even feel the increased latency with frame generation. Personally, I only play mostly older games or like competitive esports titles, so this card is all I need. I'd recommend it to anyone who's upgrading from like a 30 series card or below, or even from like a 4060. For me, coming from a 3070, it's a massive upgrade and easily worth it. So is it really the most hated GPU of 2025? Maybe. But honestly, I think it's one of the most underrated ones instead. If you found this video helpful, drop a like, subscribe for more reviews, and let me know in the comments. Do you think the 5070 deserves the hate, or is it actually a great value? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.